Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Danny Taylor, co-owner of Vegan Proteins Online Coaching, and today I am going to be showing you how to make 7 breakfasts, lunches, dinners, snacks, and desserts high in protein with a nice fall theme. So if you've been trying to get in better shape, build muscle, burn fat, achieve a more chiseled look, your workouts are a huge part of it, but your food is a way bigger part of it. And if you are going day to day, just sort of winging and guessing what it is you're gonna have for your next meal, or if you're anything like me, 5:30 rolls around and you go, oh, I'm so hungry for dinner, but I don't wanna cook, this one's for you. So stay tuned. But before we get into it, if you are a vegan who is looking to level up your physique, be sure to hit subscribe because we put out new videos every week with meal plans, recipes, tips, tricks, and informational videos to help you get there sanely and sustainably. And if you want a full PDF copy of every single recipe in this video, complete with a shopping list, go ahead and click the link below, put in your email. It should be in your email in just a few minutes. This meal plan today comes in at 1838 calories and 117 grams of protein. But every single recipe here has tips on how to make the recipes more or less calorie dense depending on your needs. And these meal plans come straight from our Muscles by Brussels membership. So that's our Vegan Proteins group training program. You get workouts, recipes, full meal plans every single month, live coaching calls, access to all of the Vegan Proteins coaches, and so much more than that. And we have some cool stuff coming down the pipeline for you in the next couple months, so keep your eyes open for that. If you're interested, I'll leave a 1-month free trial below. All right, let's get into it. Okay, I just recorded that whole bit without a microphone. So sorry, you'll see a bite is already taken from this, but we are going to be starting off making a vegan biscuits and gravy with some broccoli. So the biscuits are made with oat flour. The sausage is like a sausage crumble made with TVP. The gravy is made with as little vegan butter as I could get away with, but yours will come out better because I had to use fake soy milk, which I'll tell you about later, and some broccoli. And the macros on this dish are 434 calories, 58.5 grams of carbs, 14.2 grams of fat, 28.1 grams of protein. And guys, I tried to get as many measurements in grams as I could as well, because I hear you in the comments, you want grams. I also sliced my thumb open getting the next recipe ready. All right, go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And guys, everything is in grams in the PDF. I tried to say them both and it just sounded like a nightmare. So, all right, medium bowl, we're gonna add 2 cups of oat flour, a tablespoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of salt, and we are gonna mix all those dry ingredients together. I'm not kidding, I recorded this like 5 times trying to say both the cups and the grams, and it was just a disaster. I added a 1/4 cup of water here because my yogurt was particularly thick, but if yours is a little runnier, you might be able to omit that. Whoops. And I added 1 1/4 cup of unsweetened Greek yogurt. I added a little too much, so I had to pull some back out here. And then we are gonna mix the wet into the dry until it is just mixed. On a cooking sheet, we're gonna spritz it with some cooking spray, and I'm gonna use my ice cream scoop to scoop out 7 equally sized biscuits. Do not worry about the hat on biscuit number 2. I'm gonna fix it in a second. I know it's stressing you out.
Beat the devil out of it.
It's stressing me out. And then we are gonna pop those in the oven for 13 minutes. Get steam all over your camera, but they look great, so very happy with those. Moving on to making our sausage crumbles, we're gonna have a medium saucepan over medium heat, and I'm gonna add 2 cups of water, a half a cup of low sodium soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of liquid smoke, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, 1 teaspoon of molasses, which is hard to get off the little spoon there. And I'm just gonna whisk that together and bring it to a boil. Once that's boiling a few minutes later, I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 cups of textured vegetable protein, a half a cup of nutritional yeast, and a bunch of spices. Here is about a tablespoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of sage, 2 teaspoons of fennel, and a teaspoon of black pepper. And I am just gonna mix that all together, turn off the heat, cover, and let it sit for about 5 minutes. Once that's absorbed all the liquid, I am going to put it on a cookie sheet with the silicone mat on it, spread it out into a nice thin layer, and I'm gonna pop that in the oven for 10 minutes. I wanna get some crispy bits, but it doesn't need to be totally dry. Okay, this is where things start to go a little sideways. I'm making my gravy here, and I'm adding 1/3 a cup of vegan butter, melting that down. And I'm gonna go ahead and add 1/3 a cup of oat flour, and we are gonna whisk this together pretty much constantly because I think it's important for you guys to see how it looks as the flour cooks to a golden brown. It should smell pretty nutty. This is called a roux, and it is my favorite way to make gravy. Now, you should go ahead and add 3.5 cups of unsweetened soy milk. But as I was getting ready to make this, I realized I didn't have any unsweetened soy milk. I only had the kind that had some sugar in it. So I did what I did in one of my last videos and watered down some blended tofu to make a fake soy milk, but it definitely affected the consistency here and it came out a bit thinner than I would have liked. So please just use like the green silk unsweetened soy milk. It's gonna give you the perfect consistency. Salt and pepper this to taste, whisk it the entire time, and when it starts to really thicken, just shut the heat off because it will continue to thicken as it cools. Now I'm plating this with some broccoli. I split the biscuit open, spooning some of the sausage on top and then some of the gravy. And this makes 7 servings of this, so breakfast for every day of the week, and I would just keep everything separate and assemble it right before you eat it. And then as our first snack of the day, it's gonna be really simple. We're gonna have some peaches. I just picked these at the farm last week. They are some of the best peaches I have ever picked. Meals and snacks do not have to be complicated. I'm gonna have this at about 10 a.m. in between breakfast and lunch. They're gonna be perfect. All right, moving on to lunch, we are gonna be making these delicious mason jar fall salads. So I love to make salads in mason jars because if you try to make salads in a lot of other ways, by the end of the week, they're like soggy and gross. But if you layer your salad properly, which I'm going to show you how to do, although I did forget to put the white beans in this, so I'll throw that in after, then you can have these all week without them getting like slimy and gross. So this is awesome. It's got roasted butternut squash, red onions, quinoa, homemade bacon bits, arugula, and a maple mustard dressing. And each one comes in at 27 grams of protein. So I think you guys are really gonna like this. Go ahead and peel and dice a medium-sized butternut squash. I have a peeler that is 100% on its last leg, and this was a huge pain in the butt. You don't have to peel it. You can take the skins off after, or you can eat the skins, which is what I usually do, but I wanted this to be really pretty for you guys, so I peeled it. So you're gonna dice them into about 1-inch cubes, toss them with the tiniest bit of olive oil, sprinkle with some salt and pepper, and you are going to roast that in the oven at 450 degrees for about 35 minutes. If you can just buy shredded red cabbage, that would definitely be easier, but I couldn't find it, so I bought a head of red cabbage, chopped it in half, and then kind of sliced it into like wedges, I guess, because I'm gonna use my food processor. Fun fact, that little blade is what sliced my finger earlier this morning, just taking it out of the machine. Amazing. And I'm going to run the cabbage through until I fill up my food processor cup, because that's about 4 cups or so. And I just use the little plunger to get it down in there, and it makes perfect shredded red cabbage, and 1 head makes like 7 cups total, so I saved a bunch for later. Go ahead and finely dice a red onion and set that aside. For your peace of mind, know that I changed these Band-Aids like 8 times while I was making this video. Also, 𝐬𝐿𝐾𝐿 will not be eating this salad because it has red onion in it. I'm telling you, it adds so much to the flavor, but I will be the only one eating these because he hates raw onions so much. Now, on another cooking sheet, I'm using parchment paper here because both my silicone mats were being used. And I highly, highly recommend the Upton Naturals seitan bacon for this recipe, but I couldn't find it, so I had to make my own. Maybe I'll make a recipe on how to make this later, but if you can find the Upton's bacon, it's amazing. We're gonna put that on a cookie sheet, toss that in the oven for about 10 minutes. We just want it to crisp up a bit. While both the squash and the bacon are cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and make the dressing. So I'm adding 2/3 of a cup of apple cider vinegar, 1/2 cup of olive oil, 4 tablespoons of maple syrup, 2 1/3 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and I'm going to add some pepper and salt to taste here, and I am just gonna whisk that all together and set it aside. Okay, these look perfect. Other things that I made off screen were I cooked up some quinoa, and I have a can of white beans that are drained and rinsed and ready to go. Let me try one of the really dark ones. Not burnt. Perfect. That is exactly what I wanted. Now I just tossed this bacon into the food processor and pulsed it a little bit because I just wanted them to be in smaller pieces. In hindsight, I probably should have chopped them before I cooked them because these didn't pulverize very well in the food processor. All right, now let's assemble our salads. So at the bottom of 7 mason jars, I'm adding about a 1/4 cup of the dressing, a little more than a 1/2 cup of red cabbage, a 1/4 cup of our little bacon bits here. I just divided the squash up into 7 little piles and put each one in there. It came out to be just over a 1/2 cup, I would say. Our quinoa, I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of cooked quinoa to each one, adding a little handful of red onion to each one. And then I also forgot to put these in on the camera, but you're gonna wanna add a 1/4 cup of white beans to each one. So I just used 1 can of white beans. I drained and rinsed them and then set them aside and promptly forgot to put them in, but you can go ahead and add your layer of that as well. And you can use any kind of baby greens you like here, but I like arugula. It's a little bit stiffer, it holds up a little bit better, and it's got a nice spiciness that really reminds me of fall, so I kind of stuffed these jars with the arugula. Go ahead and seal those up. Try to make sure that they stay upright and just put them directly in the fridge that way. That's how they stay fresh until it's time for you to eat them. When you do want to eat them, you just shake the ever-loving crap out of that thing and dump it into a bowl, and it is good to go. It is so delicious. All right, next we're gonna be making a pumpkin spice latte protein smoothie. Everybody loves the PSL this time of year. This is the protein shake version of it. Super easy to make. Under 200 calories and 23 grams of protein using the vanilla almond PB2, which is perfect. Only thing I wish is that I had some vegan whipped cream to put on top of this, but I don't today. I love it. It's not too sweet. You could add sweetener to it if you want to, but I think it's perfect just like this. All right, to make this, we are gonna use a cup of unsweetened almond milk, a 1/4 cup of pumpkin puree, 3 teaspoons of instant coffee powder. I'm using decaf here. A teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, and I'm using 1 scoop of the PB2 vanilla almond performance protein, which is so perfect for this recipe. I can't stress it enough. And I had about 1.5 cups of ice in the blender to start. And if you had some vegan whipped cream, that and some cinnamon on top of this, absolute perfection. All right, and now for dinner, we have this delicious Seitan Minestrone, which as it gets colder outside, I personally absolutely love having soups, stews, chilies, etc. for dinner. I love having a big pot of it ready to go in the fridge, so when I get hungry, I don't have to go, oh man, what am I gonna make? It's already there. So I should get the macros on this for you guys. All right, so each serving of this is 373 calories, 52.3 grams of carbs, 6.1 grams of fat, and 31.1 grams of protein. And it's got so many different vegetables. It's got pasta, it's got seitan, it's got beans. It's a real winner. Lots of chopping going on in this one. I'm gonna chop up 3 medium carrots. These are washed, but I didn't bother to peel them. That is entirely up to you, should you choose to do that. 1 medium zucchini. I tried to keep the dice on everything very similar, about 1 centimeter or so, maybe 1/2 inch. I have 4 potatoes, 1 white onion, 3 cloves of garlic minced really fine. And that's gonna get us started. So in a large stock pot, I'm adding 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and then I'm adding my onions and carrots and just stirring that around until the onions start to become translucent. That took about 6 or 7 minutes. Then I'm going to add my garlic and cook it for about 2 more minutes because we don't want the garlic to burn. That'll burn a lot faster. Gonna go ahead and add 7 cups of vegetable broth. So my cheater way is just to add 7 cups of water and then the right amount of better than bouillon. Mix that together. And we are going to add all of the other vegetables that we just diced. I'm gonna add a couple of bay leaves. Please remember to take these out at the end. A teaspoon of rosemary, a teaspoon of thyme, 1 can of diced tomatoes, and we are just gonna bring that all to a boil. While that's coming to a boil, I'm gonna chop up about 4 cups of kale here, and I'm gonna chop it pretty fine this time. So I bought it in a bag, that's why it's already chopped. I'm just chopping it up a little finer. Once that's all come to a boil, I'm gonna add 2/3 of a cup of Banza pasta and cook that for about 5 more minutes with the cover on. Now we're gonna go ahead and add 2 cups of diced seitan. This is just a homemade seitan. 1 cup of red kidney beans drained and rinsed, and the kale that we just chopped up. Stir it all together, pop the cover back on, and we're gonna cook it for 5 more minutes.
5.
And here it is, all completed. I hope you guys like it. And lastly, we have these delicious pumpkin chocolate chip cookies. These are still warm. So, ooh, yeah, they're very simple. They're basically just oats and pumpkin and chocolate chips. And somehow it works. Just a nice little way to end the night, but I'm gonna have one now. Still hot, still good. With the oven preheated to 350 degrees, in a pretty small bowl, I'm gonna add 1 3/4 cup of quick oats, a half a teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, which if you don't have that pre-made, cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg, clove, cardamom, ginger, anything like that is gonna be delicious. We're gonna add 1 1/2 cups of pumpkin puree, a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, as much vanilla as your heart desires, and we're gonna mix that all together, and you're gonna look at this and go, there's no way this can cook into a cookie, but it does, it's like magic. And then I'm just adding 3 1/2 tablespoons of mini chocolate chips. And on a cookie sheet with my silicone baking mat, I don't even think I sprayed it this time. I'm just gonna use my little ice cream scoop to scoop them all out. I got about 12, I had hoped to get 14, so maybe next time I'd make them a teensy bit smaller so that this could stretch out for 2 each for 7 days. Smoosh them with the back of your spoon so that they come out to be the right shape because they don't really spread in the oven. And we are gonna cook them for 15 minutes. And yes, that is flour all over the back of my shirt. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to another video. Once again, if you are a vegan who is looking to level up your physique, whether that's to build muscle, burn fat, lose 10 pounds, get healthier, or compete at high level powerlifting and bodybuilding, that's what we do at Vegan Proteins. That's what we've been doing since 2008. I will leave a link to our coaching assessment below. If that's something you're interested in, go ahead and fill it out and you'll hear back from one of the coaches within a business day. We would love to be a part of your journey. If there's anything you'd like to see on the channel, please leave it in the comments. I love to hear what you guys are interested in, and I do listen and try to make the kind of content you want to see. So if you like the video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, all the things I'm supposed to tell you to do at the end of a YouTube video, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.